Alright, talk Mike.
What's up?
Talk Ward.
Yo!
Alright, everyone's getting picked up.
We're live.
We are live, episode 10 of Coffee Regular.
Special guest today.
Special guest, Baron Wardimer von Heelhook, the benevolent ruler of Leglakia, has graced us with his presence and allowed us to keep our feet attached to our ankles.
Today.
Thank you. Appreciate that, sir.
Mr. Ward Hiney, how are you?
I'm good, man. This coffee is delicious.
It is.
Front Porch.
Front Porch Blend, our favorite, the classic blend.
I think that's what started it all.
Mm-hmm. I think it is, between that and the Highlander.
Yeah. Speaking of, Stoff's has the Highlander.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have their own.
Oh, booyah.
So I might have to go grab some.
Yeah.
Or the Highlander cream or whatever you're talking about the one time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good stuff. But then your Highlander grog that you got, the goat stuff.
That stuff was good too.
Mm-hmm.
Why coffee regular? As opposed to coffee special.
Oh, okay, good question. Okay, this is funny. You ever seen Look Who's Talking?
A long time ago.
All right, watch
Maybe.
it again. When, I can't remember John Travolta's character's name, but he teaches Mikey how to make coffee. And he says, coffee, 1 pack of sugar, 2 creams, coffee regular. And my coffee regular tends to be coffee with cocoa powder and coconut oil.
Yeah, I did the same thing. That's what's in my mug
It's
upstairs.
delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, so I always make that. I made that joke to my daughter. It's coffee regular.
Okay.
And then Mike and I would sit and drink coffee, and
Kind of transpired.
just like our coffee talks. And I'm like, well, someone already took coffee talk, so
Yeah.
coffee regular.
Okay.
Here we are. 10 episodes deep.
10 episodes in, and today is a FaceKick Friends episode. Our very first guest.
Yeah.
And,
You're the honored first guest.
Yes, you're the honored first guest in the dojo, man.
I'm the first guest on FaceKick Friends.
Well,
Does that mean do I need to prepare my face, or?
well, I mean, I'm sure we've kicked each other in the face before. You know,
Prepare yourself.
that's what I want to call the guest episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Face Kick Friends.
Kind of like
Guest episode of Coffee
Justice League and Friends and whatnot, and everyone else comes in place.
Yeah. That's kind of what this place is designed for.
Yeah.
Or just for me and my daughter to watch The Flash and fights. It's kind of what we do down here too, but
Yeah, no, this is a great room for this.
it works out.
The Marshall Education Center.
Have you guys
Yes.
described this for the listeners at home?
I have not.
We do need to give them a visual walkthrough.
You described things well.
Okay.
Go for
Yeah.
it.
Okay, listeners at home, folks at home, there's about half of this basement that is puzzle mats. They're all matching collars.
Except for one, there is a red mat
Oh.
over there. You can't see it, but
The walls are lined with various, what I would guess are not necessarily childhood, but perhaps childhood and adult heroes of Mike's
and
on the
quotes.
walls. Pictures and quotes from them.
Yeah.
It's very sort of shriny, kind of, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a shrine.
Training shrine.
There are so many training implements here, and I can't really... There's an assault bike, a battle rope, one of those tidal...
2 battle ropes over there.
2 battle ropes. There's a trampoline.
Which I found in the basement of my old house. I have no idea where it came from. My daughter found it, so we just keep it.
It feels like something you would find in a boxing gym. I'm not sure what you would do with it.
Somewhere.
And then there's a grappling side on the far end there with wrestling mats.
Yeah.
So this is...
And there's a weight area actually behind the stairs. You
missed
haven't
that.
looked at it yet.
In terms of space
All
and
that.
efficiency, this place is the bomb.
And,
Yeah.
and it still has a usable crawl space that I store things in.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah, in the 9-foot ceilings.
When you guys break into video, you got to do a walkthrough.
We'll do like an MTV Cribs kind of deal.
Yeah.
And like,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be,
This is
roll the magic happens.
yeah, this is a childhood dream, born of a conversation when I was 17.
Born of a convert. Oh, born of a convert.
Sorry, my teeth are in a new place. I can't talk anymore. No, but like I think I was 16 or 17 years old, and we were sitting around after class, and I trained with car guys. So my friends were like talking about the cars they wanted when they grew up. And I'm like, guys, I don't want a car. I want a dojang in my basement so I can train in my pajamas whenever I want.
Yeah.
And 20 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
Finally got it.
And you've even bred yourself a training partner.
Yes, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah, we were rolling just the other day. We play. I have a card game called Game of Rolls.
Yeah.
I showed you this one.
I think, yeah, you told me about it.
It's spectacular.
It's the deck.
It's the deck, the deck game. And you just, like, we draw, and then you have to, like, get your move.
Yeah.
Yeah, we play that all the time. So,
That's
I
really good
did
games.
actually breed myself a training partner. She's much better than me, though.
Yeah,
I
it goes.
can't wait till my kids are old enough.
It only
Yeah.
gets better.
My niece just fit into her gi.
Sweet.
So
Oh, that's
Aw.
awesome.
like, it's adorable.
That is so adorable.
Black belt and cute.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
So what do we get into today? What's the
So what
meat
we
and
get into?
potatoes?
Friendships and training, man. Something that we've definitely alluded to in past episodes are the best friends you ever make are your mat friends.
Oh, yeah. Sweating into each other's mouths makes
Yes,
friends quickly.
makes you close.
Especially jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Well, I have a friend who always told me that if you want your dog to be really loyal to you, spit in their food. So
Makes sense.
it makes sense, yeah. So we're loyal to each other because of sweating in the mouth.
Exactly.
I suspect that there's food in your mouth all the time. Okay, I recognize that smell. Get over here, dude.
Yeah, well, it's the best when you leave training and you can smell individual people on your clothes. You're like, oh, that's this person, that person, and this person.
Oh, yeah.
It's hilarious and disgusting, but
Mhm.
you learn people by smell pretty quickly.
I pretty much know everybody by smell.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Before the eye surgery.
Yeah, well, I was legally blind till I was 6.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And so I'm basically Daredevil.
Yeah.
At least I want to be. So, yeah, like, my ears are my primary sense.
Huh.
And my nose is sort of the backup to that. And my eyes, I use them if I can. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, people don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had 20/20 vision my whole life, so I can't talk.
I can't even.
Yeah.
Imagine. You know, I'm at the age now where a lot of people that I know are hitting that. Like when you hit your late 30s, early 40s, you suddenly become nearsighted.
Yeah.
Like your eyeballs just crap out and say, "Fuck you, I don't look at stuff far away anymore." And so I'll have to get glasses, right? And this happened to my wife. It's hilarious because she has perfect vision, and then she's like, "I can't see." I'm like, "You can see." Ooh, you have some reading glasses. And I'm like,
You don't know what it's like to be
I'm
blind.
like, I don't get why people are freaking out about it. It's weird.
I went through a period where I was big into like prepping, like Doomsday Prepping,
Oh, right on.
and I was always like, that was the thing that made me give up on it. Was if Doomsday happens, I'm just not going to be able to see because I can't afford Lasik. So
Yeah.
like
I never wanted it.
I
I
have
can't.
one pair of glasses.
Yeah, you're screwed. Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. Yeah,
Just shoot everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's done.
Sound.
Shadow!
Well, I don't know. My zombie defense is going to be sword. Guns run out of bullets. Sword never runs out of sword, bro.
It's true.
That's so.
Yeah.
It's a-
Even with the sword, though, you need them eyes a little bit.
No, you don't. No, you don't, man.
Overrated.
Have you ever seen Blind Fury? Great movie. Great movie. Rutger Hauer, Blind Samurai. Yeah. Totally doesn't need to see shit. He chops people's eyebrows off. What? Got your eyebrows?
If you can get like that overnight
Sounds
in
like
like
a
a
miss.
nuclear apocalypse, yeah.
He wasn't missing though.
No,
He
it was
trying.
intentional. He was trying to scare a dude. Dude was sitting at a desk. He was standing over the desk. He goes, whoa! And you look back and two neat little pile of eyebrows on the desk. Yeah,
It's as good as it gets.
yeah. So, I'm
What if he
there.
was trying to kill him and he just had to play it off?
I always wondered that though. Did he really just want to chop his face off? And he's like, fuck, I missed. Oh, be cool. Be cool. You scared? Cool.
But yeah, friendships through training.
Friendship-
I met tons of weird people and stuff that I wasn't
That you
necessarily...
would never run into otherwise.
Right, yeah. And I wouldn't necessarily associate with unless it was training or something like that. Like,
Or people that wouldn't give you the time of day
oh yeah, like,
if you weren't training together.
right. Like
Yeah.
some lawyer.
Yeah, so think of-
someone who's
Think of the
done
people
some
that have
piece of
utmost
shit.
respect for you.
Right,
That if they met you in real life, they might arrest you.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like the only, I think Jiu-Jitsu gives people the only platform to take that away and take classes away and
Puts everyone on an equal level.
yeah, to tie on that belt, you're on the same level.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's very much. I remember I trained jiu-jitsu for maybe 6 months when I was like 17, and I remember at the same time seeing. I don't know if that was when Fight Club came out or when it was popular anyway.
99.
But yeah, when I saw Fight Club, and it was very, all the stuff that he's saying about, finding a separate identity, a separate hierarchy. And the thing about that movie is those guys are rejecting kind of the social hierarchy and embracing the separate hierarchy where your values assigned differently.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty powerful thing with jiu-jitsu. That's sort of what you're talking about, right? Like a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah.
If you just went into their office, you would just be
into the separate hierarchy. Yeah. Of in normal society, you're this. Shift over to Pajama Society, you're this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
like
mean,
what situation would you have, like a construction worker, a lawyer, some high school kid, like sitting around laughing about whatever, like, outside jiu-jitsu, be very specific.
Yeah, and being good friends.
Right.
Yeah, growing up in a college town where, there's a very staunch separation of classes. You got your townies versus your college people, you got cops versus this, all these different things. And I was in a Taekwondo school where everyone intersected and everyone liked each other. And, made life really cool for me because it was easy to get a job and, all the cops liked me and, it was fine. So I got to live this really weird life of this sort of, goofy-ass college student who rode my bike everywhere. But yet I knew everybody, and people that shouldn't respect me at all called me sir. Mm-hmm. And then on the flip side, if you're talking about Fight Club, I was the narrator as well. I got to be the narrator and Tyler Durden during the day when I'm at school, no one knows who I am. I was sort of this just nameless guy with bruises all over me, and people are like, that guy's freaking weird. And then I go to the gym at night, I'm freaking Tyler Durden.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, on a side note at work, I was actually Van Wilder, but, no.
Yeah, I felt a little bit like that. About 6-8 months ago, prior to about 6 or 8 months ago, for maybe a couple of years, I was not fully unemployed. I would find freelance stuff to do and stuff, but
you had time to go to the daytime class and the nighttime class.
Yeah, the reason that I was doing that, the reason I was addicted to it like that, is that was that's where I felt like I was valuable, and there's probably some neurosis tied in with that. That's probably a little bit pathological.
Pathological, but it's also chemical of oxytocin, the love drug, right?
Yeah.
Physical contact makes you produce oxytocin. So we just hugged you. We loved you, and you loved us back.
Very violent.
Now, if this is too far, let me know. But when you became gainfully employed again, the first thing Mike told me that, and the first thing I asked him, I was like, I wonder what's going to happen to jiu-jitsu. Because I knew what it meant to you when you weren't gainfully employed, and I was like, you think he's going to peter out? How's it going to change? I don't want Ward to change, but I do want Ward to pay his bills.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I definitely, I don't train like I did right there when I, first got blue, or right before I got blue belt, I think. Because, there's a lot of other stuff to do. And I don't know, there's the cliche that you hear every sports show documentary, every run up to the UFC. There's the everybody is ever since Mike Tyson, and probably before that, everybody is basically trying to tell the Mike Tyson story just as their story, right?
I feel it.
I don't have anything else. I don't have anything to live for except fighting. If I wasn't fighting.
Yeah.
And that's not to that degree, but that's sort of it was a huge part of my identity when I wasn't working, right? Because it was I felt like it was the only thing of value I was producing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, with the weeks when I'm real productive at work, I am not very productive at jiu-jitsu, just because I feel like, I'm productive in one area, so I'm less. I don't have that drive to justify my existence to the cosmos by being productive in another area.
I feel that.
But yeah, it's funny. The Arnold's coming up here,
mm-hmm.
and I'd like to compete at that. And my drive to compete with that has, not consciously, but my drive to compete with that has coincided with, we were waiting at work on clients and stuff. So there's nothing going on there.
Coincided with I need something to do.
Yeah.
I need a goal.
Yeah.
So you're a conqueror. If you can't conquer things by filming them, you have to conquer them by joking them? Possibly.
Maybe, yeah.
Or you just like to be fully immersed in something.
Yeah,
do you need the immersion?
Yeah, like I have to be... my mind has to be, like, wrapped up in something.
Ah, okay.
Or, yeah.
All right, so if you can't physically train, do you mentally train? Do you, like, read books? Do you have conversations with people or perform thought experiments?
Yeah, I think one of the things that helped... I feel like I picked up at least the early part of jiu-jitsu pretty quickly. And I think one of the things that helped with that was I spent a lot of time outside of it trying to develop the ability to imagine myself like working with another body, like a mannequin, and like keeping track of all the limbs, which may sound, if you've been training a while, it may sound stupid easy, but it's very difficult to do early on to like keep track of where all the limbs are and try to imagine what it feels like when they shift weight this way, that way. So yeah, I spent a lot of time outside of jiu-jitsu thinking about it, trying to kind of systematize what was working for me and what wasn't. Probably earlier than I should have been, but...
well, I don't know, Mike.
That's
not a bad thing.
Depends on how long you're in it. Like, just one person going for like one time a week for 3 months is different than someone who's going 5 times a week for that same 3 months. They're going to get different things out of it.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to get out of it? You know,
Right.
we can't all be BJ Penn or Keenan Cornelius, but you know, in that respect, you took this is how my brain works. I'm going to apply it to this thing, and you drew it out.
There wasn't the growing pain phase of like learning how you learn with it. Where like,
Whereas, you seem to know how you learn.
Like
so
I started teaching you shit, you just took it and did it. Like I didn't have to be like, this is this is why, this is this. You're like, okay, boom, and then you did it in your own head. Like I didn't have to systematize it for you.
I wonder if that's a product of, for like a couple years before that, I did like Olympic lifting and then powerlifting. I wonder if some of that's the like body awareness of. You have to Olympic lifting. You have to be so like dialed in to very specific what your body's doing.
Oh yeah, it's so technique dependent.
Yeah.
And it's timing dependent.
Yeah.
And
And if one thing's off, everything's fucked.
well, pretty much your arm falls off, or you hit yourself in the head, or
Right.
your knee blows out, something. I did a lot of Olympic lifting in college. The strength coach for OU, his kids were in my taekwondo school.
Yeah.
And it was cool because like he just kept staying after class and watching us train for like weeks. I'm like, why the hell is that? You know, the parent of these kids staying and watching us. It's creepy. And then he came to us and like gave us his card. He's like, "Hey guys, I think I can help you. I'm the strength coach for OU. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 a.m. Show up at the tower."
He's like, all right, hit the showers, let's go.
And we're like, okay. And he taught us how to lift, do Olympic lifting. Taught us how to like. I mean, he taught me specifically. Like he showed us how to do everything, but then he taught me how to coach.
Yeah.
Because he picked me out as like, you get this shit on a different level. You're not just here to just throw stuff around and get better at fighting. Like you're telling everyone else what to do, like you're taking it in. So he's like, all right, here. And he broke down Olympic lifting for me and like training and, you know, I mean, even just like primary motions and how to build opposites and all this different stuff. And it was really cool, but it was very much like it was a bit of training I'd never gone into because we were in a sport with weight divisions. We're all afraid of lifting. At least, you know, in the 90s, no, I can't gain weight. I have to stay skinny.
And now it's like, I want to pack on as much weight as possible.
I can't.
I admit to metabolically can't.
Yeah. But, it's the systematizing of it. I get that.
Yeah.
Of not just the steps, but like I don't know, I was listening to an interview with Danaher, and it seems to be that's probably why you like Danaher so much. He's all about systems, but him and on a BJJ Fanatics podcast, him and Travis Stevens were talking about this, of dragging people into their pattern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The pattern's predictable, but that's what I want. Yeah. Because you know what I'm going to do, so I know what you're going to do.
Yeah, funneling.
Funneling. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing that helps me pick up stuff quickly is that like pedagogical interest in how I would teach it. Because the whole time, like, you were teaching me stuff, I was like, okay, at some point I'm going to have to communicate this to another person.
Well, Cheney and I both do that. We've talked
Yeah.
about that too. Yeah. And so, I mean, how does your brain work on that one? Then when you take something in, are you laying out different perspectives, or are you just going through it, just figuring out like how this is how it should feel, or where are you going with that?
I'm going to have to think about that.
Interesting.
It's very instinctive. I don't consciously think too much about sort of the meta.
But just the underlying thought is, I need to be able to teach this to another person coherently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you're working out roadblocks through that.
Yeah, I think what I'm like when I would do privates with Cheney, I'm pointing for the folks at home.
One day it'll be on film.
We would, I think what I'm doing is I'm meeting what he's saying at sort of the front door of my brain, and then turning around and relaying it to myself, like trying to teach it to myself.
So it's like short-term memory versus long-term memory.
Kind of.
It's your frontal lobe talking to your hippocampus.
Yeah, I'm like, I probably do this out loud. When you say whatever you say, you say something, and then I'll be and I'll rephrase what you said in a way that I know the thing at the back of my brain will hear it.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening.
So when he says something's crispy, how do you relay that?
Yeah, it's crispy.
No, I immediately knew what that meant.
It means, yep, that was fucking good. That was on point.
It was like Mike does it. That's what crispy.
A little crispier. A little crispier.
Crispy enough. Very nice.
I was talking to Todd Sarver the other day, like, it's either fine, good, or crispy. There's only so many grades. Or do it again. Or rewind a little bit. But do you find yourself doing that with other work? Like, say, like, when you're editing something at work, like, do you have a system, or are you just mindlessly doing it? Or have you not thought about the process in a while? Or?
It depends on how challenging the project is. So for work, I'm a video editor for a documentary film company, and I tend to autopilot things really like as quickly as possible, because I'm either lazy or efficient, depending on your perspective. So if I can save thinking about something consciously, I will save thinking about it consciously and just sort of send it to the autopilot section.
Yeah.
So like once I've done, say if we're doing 6 episodes of something, once I sort of have the pattern down for a couple episodes, it's pretty much autopilot, and I'm thinking about other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Moving on to the next deal.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So do you find yourself doing that with Jiu Jitsu then, training that way?
Yeah.
By learning that way, or is that how you've always learned, or do you find yourself learning differently from Jiu Jitsu?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the way I've always learned or not. I do, like, my jiu-jitsu game is very autopilot unless I'm specifically trying to plug something in, and then sometimes I'll like plug it in at the wrong part of the sequence. Like I'll let the autopilot go too far, and then I can't walk it back and do the thing I was trying to do.
Yeah.
It's hard learning stuff that's like I've been trying to learn Melanson's shoulder pin, like trying to use that, but I don't often let people play that close to my head, like pressure my head that much to get up high on my chest. I'm usually trying to use my legs and control, because I've got, the legs are where all of my power is. So I'm having trouble finding where in sort of the autopilot sequence of playing bottom half guard and stuff, where to diverge off to find the shoulder pin stuff without just getting smushed. But, yeah, so yes, I do. I think I do that with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, from from a use standpoint, is what you want to get to.
Yeah.
But then, from a learning standpoint, you have to break the autopilot and get your ass whooped trying to learn new stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Emotionally, you deal with that okay, or
Yeah, I don't really mind getting beat up anymore in class. Sometimes, if I'm trying to like do it, like last night, I was trying to do pretty much competition speed, and if I can't, like I've found a real athletic person or someone who's less experienced, then it will bother me that I couldn't sort of impose my will.
Well,
but
it's all in how you do it.
Yeah, like with, I don't know, like Jiu Jitsu, like it's trial and error.
Yeah,
do
I mean,
10 billion times.
There's
like,
different approaches for different people.
Yeah.
You know.
And that big athletic motherfucker, you might not. That might be his bad day. Like,
you just got to let
might
him
get
come
one
at
day.
you.
Yeah.
Move to the side.
Yeah.
Right?
Could just be his day that day.
I mean, that's how it is. Anyone can, win. Anyone can lose on any given day.
And it doesn't matter.
That's how it goes. It's the fun of it.
Yeah.
Now, I'll ask you a question. Because we have very similar goals, but very opposite ways of coming about it. I'm a super systems thinker, but I'm a very lateral thinker as well. But I come from chaos. I don't like to start from like a specific point. I like to start from fucking anywhere and just see where it turns and see if like what I was trying to do fit in. And so like we've had some beginnings of some interesting conversations with that sort of opposite mindset. It very much reminds me of really early on, the one day we rolled downstairs on the old mats and our gis got all dirty. At one point, Ward had me mounted, and that was, in the beginning, you were on the fence. You didn't know if you liked Jiu Jitsu. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like way back.
And this was way back. And I saw you start to cross over. Because, like, you had me mounted and you started to think about something and you got a little bit happy about it. And I was like, oh,
that's the moment.
I think Ward's enjoying it. Like, and I'm just playing around. I'm just like, my legs work again. I don't give a shit. But I had the exact same goal of I need to understand this to the point that I can explain it to a toddler and they can do it. Like, that's where I'm going. But I also need, like, for me, it's the thread that connects everything. I try to find everything. If we're talking about, like, Neutron Stars or Adidas, there's something that intersects. And so that's what I'm always looking for.
So, what's interesting about that, there's an interesting philosophical point to be made with what you're saying, that C.S. Lewis talks about this, how what you believe about everything is contained in what you say about anything. So, and it's essentially the same thing that the postmodernists said, that, not that the vast majority of postmodernism, I think, is horseshit, but I think what makes it compelling is this particular truth, that every narrative is a meta-narrative. Everything you say, like what you say about anything, contains what you believe about everything.
So, random acts of training. We got into that a lot. Our last episode, so we were kind of like training as a microcosm for life.
Yeah.
And how we build our lives around training. But our training is built around our life. And how we learned something in Jiu Jitsu and then we were able to apply it in life because we did it here.
Yeah.
And, I mean, yeah.
So I think one of the cool things about the way that reality is that because we live in an ordered, rational sort of universe, you can discover concepts or truisms that are sort of spring-loaded with lots of other information. So it's possible to condense a huge amount of information into like a single concept. So here's an example from fighting that I've been talking about in some of the videos that we did for GWAC. The concept of centerline control or centerline dominance. This is an example. So anywhere in fighting, if you imagine two people, for the folks at home, I'm going to use my hands. If you can imagine two people as rays from like geometry class, right?
Yeah.
So a ray is a line that begins at a point and extends outward infinitely. So whether you're talking about gunfighting, standing fighting, knife fighting, fighting on the ground, fighting clinched, if you can keep your ray on the opponent and make sure the opponent cannot put his ray on you, you have a huge advantage in that fight.
Mm.
Okay?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So in the concept of keep the opponent on your center line, stay off the opponent's center line, that's spring-loaded with a huge amount of information, right? So I could show you, how that applies on the ground, or how that, if you think about, almost every submission that I can think of, particularly off your back, requires you to be perpendicular, or as close as you can get to perpendicular to the line of your opponent. Mm-hmm. Right? If you think about a triangle, you got to turn, right? Armbar, you got to turn perpendicular. Kimura, you want to finish it perpendicular. So, and I think that sort of thing, which we can kind of verify that in experience, right? We can roll and figure out, okay, yeah, that does seem to be the case. Mm. So, I don't know, applying like a thing that you find in training to life in general, I think there are a lot of concepts or truisms like that about reality, where the whole, a huge amount of information about reality can be reduced to, a single narrative. But that's getting...
No, go. That's where we like to go. Bro. This is where we go. Yeah,
this coffee's too good.
It's so good.
It's bringing out my weekend
stay plugged in. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, what you were talking about, where you, so when you were saying that you were contrasting the way that we think about things,
we're going toward the same thing, but you come from a single point. You're looking for something. You're starting somewhere, and you're looking for one thing. Whereas I'm starting anywhere and seeing where it goes, even if I have one thing in mind. If I don't get there in the perfect way, I'm just going to hang a left. I'm hanging a left at Albuquerque, and I'm getting there.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Whereas I can bounce around all over the place and still end up there. Whereas you take one direction, and we end up learning the same thing. But, I've always taken the long route to learning, whether that's good or bad. I'm not in a hurry. And so I try to pull things in as I go. But I'm still developing a system. But I like my system to be able to pivot. Whereas you're developing a system and you say, I'm going to refine this one system and get this down, and then I'm going to apply that to all the other systems if I need to pivot. Like, I don't take the time to learn the one system. I'm learning it all. I'm finding the general idea all the way through, and then I'm extrapolating that out.
So that's what you mean by lateral thinking. You're capable. You'll leave a thing off to the side. Okay, let's see what happens if I approach the problem over here.
Yeah, I connect Bugs Bunny to Tyler Durden. Is what I'm doing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it's. If you ever read there's a great series of books called The Chronicles of Amber. It's right over there, actually, bottom shelf. But it's good stuff. 12 books, and Amber is like this place. It's the original reality, and the royal family. Basically, there's a bunch of brothers and sisters, and I can't remember what happened to the king and queen. They're dead somewhere, but they can walk through shadow. So we're all just shadows of Amber, and they can go to sort of whatever version of reality they want. But they find out, and spoiler alert, you got to read like the first 6 books to get this, but that on the opposite end of existence, there's chaos. So Amber is the ultimate bit of order. Everything has its place. It all works perfectly. Well, chaos is just clusterfuck. And at some point, the one main dude, Corwin, he meets a chick from chaos. They have a kid named, what was his name? I can't remember. It's in my brain somewhere, but it's really cool. But the conflicting ideas of, and it's, sort of a reflection of the universe. So the universe started out, as one theory is, it starts out in complete order and moves toward chaos, the idea of entropy, right? And so for me, like, I read these books when I was like 12, and I've never been able to explain them to people. They're awesome. But I always just dug chaos. I thought like Amber, but I acted like chaos. And I was like, I dig the idea of structure, I'm a ritualistic person. You should watch me make tea in the morning.
Okay.
Like we've talked about that, getting the system of getting up in the morning. Like, I like my systems, but I also like my systems to be able to adapt. And I also like to be like the happy little center of the storm sometimes, which is shit's crazy, and I can just keep it together and be like, I'll fix that. And so as training being a reflection of mindset, of knowing how your brain works to absorb things, I dive in head first. I'll take, I don't do this like I used to, but I used to fight anybody. I'd fight everybody, and just to figure it out. I didn't know what they were going to do. I didn't know if I was going to win or lose. I just wanted to know I just wanted to figure it out. Like, and it gives me something I can adapt to.
I feel like part of your identity was that you wanted to know that lowest common denominator, you could hold it together no matter what was happening.
Oh yeah, no,
okay. So we shared that.
I had a very exciting life. Let's say my childhood was all over the place, and so I had to be able to do that. Just from his birth, really.
Yeah.
Because I had to be able to hold my shit together no matter what, and so, I've been obsessed with martial arts since I was born, and that kind of became the path for it in a lot of ways. But it's just, what I always liked about you is you're the order version. You're Amber to my chaos. Even though I really dig all the things about Amber, like, I still gravitate toward, the sky changes color every 2 seconds. Bam!
Yeah. I'm philosophically very Western, and you're philosophically...
Yeah, very Eastern. Very much. I've always been into, especially early on, Chinese mythology and Chinese way of thinking is something I definitely researched the hell out of as a kid, and still now. I mean, I do, but yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I assume, do you know who Jordan Peterson is?
Mm-hmm.
Talks a lot about the order chaos dynamic, and how there's there are ditches on both sides of that road.
Yeah.
Order can be tyrannical, and chaos can be, dangerous.
Can be Mad Max. Yeah, but training as a reflection of life as a reflection of training can get kind of weird. It's a little bit heady.
Yeah.
But
that's where you depending on the person, that's where they can get totally wrapped up and lost. And that's where I think we have offshoots of, our bad instructors. And
well, we can go, like, we're going to do an episode on that soon. Yeah. But I mean, as
terrible instructors.
Yes. Oh, wait, tune into that one. It's probably going to be next, guys.
Yeah, I know you've got some experience.
Yeah, we got some good stuff. But no, as a teacher though, you got to rein that in. Mm-hmm. You got to learn how to explain things in different ways to different people, but make it a unique experience. Of a problem my daughter's been having is she's friends with everybody. She's really good about making you feel like you're the only one in the room, but she's aware of everybody else in the room. And so people will be like, "You're my best friend. Why are you hanging out with that other person?" That other person will be like, "You're my best friend."
Like, I'm everyone's best friend.
And that's like I had to tell her. I'm like, "You're everybody's best friend, dude, and you got to help people understand. Don't be mad at them. They just don't get it. They just don't get that you can be that kind of person to everybody." Mm-hmm. But as a teacher, you're that kind of person to everybody, Janie. Yeah, you make everyone feel like they're the only person in the room, even if it's a room of 20 people.
Right, and on the other end of that is if I say something to make someone feel like shit, that's going to have an equally...
That's going to have a devastating effect, and you know that because it's happened to you.
Yeah, that happened to me, so I'm like, fuck that. I'm always looking like to be the instructor, whomever I needed when I didn't have it. Mm-hmm. So I'm always just like, okay, so like, even if I remember so many weird situations of like being the third person in the room and seeing like this strange occurrence happen between an instructor and a student, just being like, huh, that's very weird. Like, it's just very strange.
Yeah.
And I just never wanted to create that environment for anyone. Like, it was never conducive for anything. Learning.
Agreed.
Character building, it was never a thing.
Yeah.
What everyone turned turned it out to be like what they said it was.
When did you know that you wanted to teach? Or
That's
did
the
you,
thing, I
did
never
you fall into it? Do you know what I mean?
I always had the desire to want to be able to explain it, like, to anyone, anywhere, at any time. So, like, it made me uncomfortable not to know every aspect of something. It made my, like, anxiety flare about it, so I was like, I need to know about all of these things. Like, tell me all
know how
of
it
it.
works.
Yeah, like,
Give me
tell
all the
all of the information in every way you have, like, in order to kind of quell that. But yeah, I was not pushed into it by any means, but I don't know if someone saw it or whatever, but they just were like, you want to teach kids or you want to do this, and like it kind of started that way.
Yeah.
But I always like viewed myself in my head like, I wouldn't necessarily even say a teacher per se, but someone relaying information in some way, shape, or form. And doing so in a way that would make people retain it as much as possible. Jiu-Jitsu isn't the easiest thing in the world to explain to people, you know.
Yeah.
But if I can make that generally easy to understand, or at least boil it down to a point you're comfortable with taking it in, you're going to take a lot more away from that than you have 5 moves, you have to do it perfectly. If you don't, fuck you. Like,
get them all done, damn
which is a lot of.
But
you know.
I don't know. There's an upside to that pressure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I know a lot of shit because people expected me to be perfect at everything.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I had no issue going through it myself.
Yeah, I what can be done to me
But I'm
shouldn't
not
be done
going
to
to
others.
subject anyone else to that.
Yeah.
I wanted to be put through all the weird shit to be like, yeah, been there. I'm not going to make you do that though. Like, fuck that.
No,
like,
don't get it. Now, that reminds me of something. Since we have Ward here, and he's very eloquent with his words. A bit of a hero's journey, Ward. If we want to go into that idea, which I like the concept of because I'm a comic book nut, of we got in that a little bit, is Jiu-Jitsu as the microcosm of the journey.
Yep.
Of everyone needs a freaking quest that they got to go on, and they have to fight the things and do the things and come out at the end and right? And there's a lack of that in society today for sure. And so going back to your unemployment time, it became your quest of sort of, if I want to like turn you into a comic book character, which I have, by the way, in my head. You're the Baron. But
drawing later.
I'll have to draw that out. Yeah, I can draw. I'll do it. But that was what I was worried about when you got a full-time job again. Yeah, I didn't want you to lose your quest because I liked you on the quest. It was cool to see how you absorbed everything and then would convey it. And I just enjoyed that. But I didn't want you to lose it. So has the quest changed at all? Is it still happening?
So if the heroes, the archetype is you descend into the deep, which is chaos, and you rescue your father and come back with something that's valuable to the society. Sometimes it's rescue your father. Sometimes find the thing that killed your father and kill it, symbolically resurrecting your father.
Shit, I only have one parent. I'm screwed. I gotta get on the quest. I only have them all. Oh man.
It's also symbolically your father, right? So, for me, the person that my father actually is doesn't contain everything that I think of as father. Okay. Father is also sort of the discipline and the order that formed you, or your archetype for what that should be. So, mine is, it's some amalgam of my dad and, John Wayne and Clint Eastwood and the story. I was big into cowboy films, so it's some amalgam of that. But anyway, how's the has the journey changed? Yeah, I guess, my ultimate goal in life, and this is going to be religious and weird, and we probably don't have time to get into all that, but
you're okay.
My ultimate goal is to fulfill the destiny that is laid out for me by God. So, part of that is raising my kids to kill the dragon. Okay, this is another hero journey thing. So
I gotcha.
It's not just me slaying a dragon, right? It's raising my kids to slay dragons.
Yeah,
so
I feel that.
But in order to do that right, I have to learn how to do it.
You got to be able to do it, yeah.
So that's part of the whole self-defense pursuit. For the folks at home, I also teach the self-defense classes, some of the self-defense classes at Endeavor. So part of that is learning how to teach my son and my daughter to slay dragons. And when we say slay dragons, we're of course speaking archetypally. There's no...
Hopefully it's metaphorically.
Yes.
Hopefully there aren't dragons running around
Someday.
eventually. But maybe.
Rain of Fire was pretty dope.
The spontaneous Matthew McConaughey in that film made it for me, man.
Dude.
Bam.
Yeah, so sort of the ultimate goal hasn't changed, but in order to get there, I've got to learn how to use violence, right? That's a part of the puzzle. Mm-hmm. And then part of it is also I've got to make money.
Yeah.
So,
violence, money, professional fighter, maybe. I don't know.
If I were good, then I would do that. Good and brave, neither of which characterize me particularly.
You just have to have good medical. That's the key. Yeah. You got a good cut, man, you're fine.
So yeah, the ultimate goal hasn't changed. It's just sort of trying to roll with the punches and take an opportunity to work on the thing that I can work on now. I had the opportunity to work a lot on violence.
So take the opportunity when you have it.
Yeah.
You just dive in when you get the chance.
Observationally, like when you were there all the time, I mean, you make the best out of your time when you're there. You're not.
No.
You're not messing around.
You don't come in to just fuck around. Yeah. So doesn't matter.
I had a mission in mind.
Yeah.
I got you.
Right. Badass.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, where else should we go with it? We got a few minutes left.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. I'm gonna let's bring it out a little bit, a little lighter. I'm doing things with my hands because Ward wants us to describe
For the folks
that.
at home, Mike is raining in reverse with his hands. So if you've ever done like a campfire song where it rains, imagine that in reverse. That's what we've got.
A vapor.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Wayne's World,
Right.
but going up. Right. Okay. So, and the idea of FaceKick friends is what I like to call my martial arts friends.
Is this the part where I get kicked in the face?
Maybe later. Take your glasses off first. No, but really early on, like my new house, I've lived here almost 3 years. When we got this house, we'd just gotten back from London, and Mike had gifted me the third stripe so I could take 2 classes, which was hilarious on my part because I was still pretty clueless. I'd made it enough. I knew enough, and I
gave him his third stripe, so because they didn't let you train if you didn't. Or what
no, because I couldn't do the intermediate class.
Yeah, that.
Right, and I taught a pro about how to berimbolo. Yay, that was cool. But okay, so I got back, whole new house thing. I'm like, guys, I got a new house. My basement has 9-foot ceilings. It's freaking amazing. And I'm like, if anyone wants to help me move, hey. And Ward was like, I might have time today. I'll come by. So I'm in my garage doing my thing for, I don't know, years. It's forever. And I'm like, Ward said he'd come by if you wanted to. I'm not going to be emotionally invested in it. I don't even know Ward. And then Ward pulls up. Ward, who I barely know, who I just recently differentiated you from Aaron and AJ, because they all look the same to me, especially without glasses. Sorry.
Big, short-haired,
That's accurate.
stocky white folk.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, with a gun. Like, oh, okay, yeah, they're all the same. Yeah. Ward pulls up. He's like, hey, man, this your old house or your new house? Like, this is the old house. New house is down there. And he helps me carry shit from my garage to my new house and neatly put it somewhere because he's Ward and he's considerate like that. And I brought him down to the empty basement and I was like, dude, this is the dream. This is what it's going to happen. And you stood in the empty basement and you're like, yeah, I like it, man. And he held me for like an hour. I mean, it was a long time. It was a lot to do. But we barely knew each other. But we had rolled together many times. We had been training together for a while. And that's sort of the insta-friendship that training does. Of people that the three of us wouldn't run into each other despite the fact that we're related. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have ever met each other. Oh, you know that story?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's hilarious. I'll tell you that in a second.
Okay.
Of training brought us together, put us on an equal playing field. We all have the utmost respect for each other and care for each other deeply. And
that's training breeds that.
Training breeds that instantly.
The slap and bump before rolls means I'm going to take care of you. You're going to take care of me.
Yeah,
It carries out.
And yeah, I mean, it's chemically, it's the oxytocin that's in your brain being released while you touch the other person, and it's that kind of thing. But yeah, that's that was the first thing I thought of when we're like, we can get Ward on the show for our first guest, and that meant a lot to me, man. Oh. At the time, it meant a ton because that was hard, moving my whole house.
You're my first person to trust me taking privates and everything. Mm-hmm. You had faith.
And then shortly after that, Mike came over and helped me move my daughter's bed.
That was a heavy bed,
which is a bunk bed with steps.
Very well constructed.
Very well constructed. Helped me take it apart, helped me carry it over here, and then helped me hold it up as I put the damn thing back together. But between you two guys, and that's a handful of months of knowing each other, and we're without question like, yeah, I'll go help you. Yeah, I'll do that. Don't worry about it. We got it. Da-da-da.
Yep.
No.
How much of that do you think is a discipline like Jiu Jitsu, which is going to be... you're going to get separated from your ego, from conceptions that you have about your own ability to do things pretty rapidly. Mm-hmm. How much of that is that filter operating on people where, the only people that are going to come in and roll with you are going to be of a particular mindset, or at least not of a particular mindset?
Yeah, the weeding out process of it.
Yeah.
Some people stay, some people don't. I don't know, I guess, if you boil it down, personality-wise, we all have to match up because we all chose to stay and train. On some level, we have something in common. But then there's another level there's plenty of people you train with that you're not friends with. That you train with them and they're cool, but you're not hanging out with them. Mm-hmm. But then there's people you train with that you invite to hang out in your kung fu movie room and record their voices. Yeah.
Some voices are silkier than others.
some, yes. I don't know. We'll see. We haven't used this mic in a while.
Sound real good. I forget what we were talking about when I moved that bunk. I think we were talking about competing, and I was wanting to come back and
Oh, that was the beginning of you wanting to come back.
That was before I had come back.
Yeah, because you were still you were really against it in the beginning, and then you were like, I'm thinking about coming back, and we were talking about that while we were holding up the bunk bed.
Yeah, that's sort of Then with the
what put you off of it?
I was just, after the old gym blew up, I was just fucking done. I was pretty much I was that close to walking away. That's even showing up to Endeavor. There's days and I was like,
yeah, fuck that. And that's kind of where we bonded on that thought process.
Were you guys at that same gym?
No.
He just has
I have a lot of similar experiences that I wouldn't wish on anybody. And then he started we kind of picked each other out real quick on that respect, because I would say some shit or do some shit, and he'd be like, "Huh?" And I'd see how he'd react to it, and I'm like,
"Scar up the master."
and so that was really where we started to connect on that. And but once again, the whole training thing, that you just came to my house and helped me dismantle a bunk bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other Endeavor in particular, and I would imagine that a good bit of this is due to your personality and Justin's personality, but the culture there, is different than I've encountered some places I've traveled and trained. Like there's nobody there that I really like dislike or am frightened of to roll with, even people that are like a lot better than me. Whereas other places, you know,
It's a short list, by the way.
Yeah.
People better than Ward.
fuck off.
Yeah, like, especially traveling, like,
Yeah, traveling, I like
0%.
I always you can always tell people that only trained at one gym versus people that trained at a bunch of different gyms, because people that have at least trained at multiple gyms know that the world is different outside of their gym, and either like can really appreciate or really hate where they're at, and they notice, they see the difference, which it's something I really appreciated when I was still at Endeavor, of the culture that Mike created, of just, it was, you know, just real laid back, like very much we're in our pajamas hugging each other, don't take it too seriously, guys. And I really enjoy that, as opposed to that can, you know, other gyms it changes.
There's a lot. I don't know. There's just a lot of weird shit in jiu-jitsu culturally that
It's
I just never paid. Yeah, I never paid any attention to it.
Yeah,
or that I never broadcasted to students. So, and that's, I think, part of. It's part of why that environment's like that, because a lot of the stupid bullshit was never even talked about.
The stupid bullshit doesn't even come into play,
which is nice.
I feel like at some point in jiu-jitsu's development over the last 20 years, it's sort of split from gyms that are idolizing sort of MMA, and then gyms that are idolizing some sort of like platonic ideal of jiu-jitsu as this lifestyle encompassing sort of thing.
Yeah, well, all right. Conceptually, it's judo already did that as well, the Meiji Restoration, of where martial arts jiu-jitsu like went from I know this shit to kill this dude to I don't have a job anymore, but I still know this shit to kill this dude, but I'm not allowed to kill these dudes. And so it became a spiritual thing, and this is my favorite part of this killing stuff, so I'm going to develop that and teach it. And so if you look at like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you just go back just to the Gracies, okay, they learn it, and because of Brazilian machismo, they're like, I want to beat everybody up. And then they realize, well, hey, we should refine this to be better at beating people up. And then it kind of went into that, and then they created, Valley Tudo becomes a thing, MMA becomes a thing, but then sport jiu-jitsu becomes a thing. And now you have jiu-jitsu to beat jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu to just beat the hell out of everyone else. And so jiu-jitsu then moves into, rather than being feeder for MMA, becomes either feeder for its own sport, and then you have the thread the whole time of the spiritual journey that you almost by accident go on, because you're training and getting better and learning things, and it becomes a lot less about winning all the time and dominating people, and a lot more about, can the Baron Bolo save me? I need to figure this out. Oh, neat. And you're more interested in that. And so that's the thread that goes through the whole thing. But yeah, there was the split where jiu-jitsu used to be feeder for MMA, and then it kind of got a whole lot easier to just be on the spiritual quest of learning jiu-jitsu.
I think MMA made some crucial mistakes to help jiu-jitsu get to where it is.
Yes, clearly.
That's a different thing.
Which hopefully it corrects those mistakes, because I'm a fan. But
right.
Yeah.
But some other sweet shit is coming from jiu-jitsu because of that. So
yeah,
it's just, I'll ride that wave.
It's the it's hopefully it doesn't go the way of say Taekwondo.
Yeah. Where
Taekwondo used to be, its origins are actually fairly badass. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, and I happened to learn a lot of that old shit. But I knew a lot of the new shit, too. And then everything I know is now irrelevant sport-wise because the rules changed. And now it's just foot fencing. Like the front leggers won, it was the ultimate insult. But all the politics and things of something becoming an Olympic sport just destroyed it. And now it is where it is. And that's why I'm staunchly against jiu-jitsu becoming an Olympic sport, because I know firsthand, as I lived the demise of Taekwondo, as a fan of judo and someone who trains judo, I sort of watched it kind of and then jiu-jitsu's just personally was like my pure thing. It was last on the list all the martial arts I want to learn in my life. I had one left. Jiu-Jitsu popped up at the perfect time, and like I needed to just be what I imagined it to be. Yeah, I don't know where else I was going with that, but yeah, that friendship, joking.
Friendship, training.
Bam. My heater kicked on. Hopefully you can still hear us.
Coffee
That brings us together. But how was the coffee, Ward?
It was delicious. No, I really liked it.
Yes.
I haven't had the time to have French press coffee in a long time, so.
Beautiful, man.
It's nice to sit down.
It was nice to sit down and talk. You brought a levity and intelligence to the podcast that was, rather than action movie references, you brought in like poets and authors as well.
That's nice. Nice touch.
That was cool. Yeah.
So, you had fun?
Yeah. Good times. All right.
Keep an eye out for GWAC. Shameless plug time.
Yes.
At Home Badass.
Mm-hmm.
Uniponies Jiu Jitsu. Bring your kids in. All the good stuff.
All the good stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know. I got a rep with me and my daughter train, Ronan.
Yeah.
So good. Yes. And Jake lives there now too. So.
That's legit.
Damn, we got everybody. It's good stuff.
What are we looking at next time?
Next time. Next time. I was thinking we should do the that whole overcoming a negative training environment thing.
Mm-hmm. That'd be a good one.
Yeah. So get ready to hear me and Mike cry.
We're
gonna sob about some things, and then Ward can listen to it and be like, "You're too emotional." I'm gonna refer to C.S. Lewis today. All right, y'all. Peace out. Until next time, keep your coffee regular.
Bye.